Well, hello, everybody. Can you all hear me out there? I got that crazy music in the background. It almost put me to sleep. I forgot, man, I'm going on and doing a show. Yes, I am. I am Bigfoot Mission Rob. It's late night. And everybody, that I was thinking. Now, I didn't expect to really get anybody to fill up the chat room. It's Sunday, about 12:31 in the morning on Sunday, technically Monday. And this is a pilot show. This is something different. That, as a YouTube creator, you always look to diversify. You always look to do something different, do something unique. For the majority of you that follow Bigfoot Mission Rob on YouTube, you know that Tuesdays at 9 in the East and Thursdays at 1 in the East, and every weekend I drop videos. And the bulk of my shows, as y'all know, I've been doing this for 2 years now. The bulk of my shows are cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, the paranormal, the ghosts. And I've been expanding that because when I first started, everybody, I was mostly a cryptid guy. Because I started my channel because of having a Bigfoot encounter. And throughout my life, I've had a lot of experiences with the paranormal. I've had experiences with ghosts. But for me, I was coming up with these ideas, okay, over the last 6 to 8 months about doing something a little bit different, a little unique. Not to stray away from the high strangeness, right? Because, in fact, tonight's show, if you saw the title, BMR Live pilot show, Bigfoot is boring, Dogman is exciting. And we will get into that tonight. We really will. But moving forward with my channel and trying to grow, trying to expand my audience, I wanted to keep it on the same crazy stories and this unknown phenomenon, but I wanted to come up with something that the average person could relate to when it comes to weird happenings in their life. And for me, a lot of these weird happenings, they revolve around, right, the paranormal. Sometimes it's cryptid, sometimes it's ghosts, sometimes it's the afterlife. So this show is certainly not going to refrain from what Bigfoot Mission Rob provides 3 times during the week. But I also wanted to have something for the newer viewers that have had crazy things happen that they can't explain. So what I'm attempting to do here, I'm going to try this, a late night show, and talk about all of these things. And I get it. The people that follow me expect Bigfoot and Dogman, and I get that, and I love it. That is my core. That's why I started my channel. But again, a lot of these things, everybody, a lot of the weird things that happen to people really revolve around a lot of these things. So I'm attempting to bring something new, and this is an important show because I won't get many people here listening in the chat room probably because most people are in bed. Most people got to get ready for work. So I wanted to pick a night where I didn't have a big crowd, but I know that by Monday afternoon, several hundred people are going to see this, which is my goal behind it. And my goal behind this is I need comments. I need, you can leave them in chat for those of you in chat coming on in. And for those who are probably going to be listening tomorrow, leave a comment. And before I get into a couple of these stories I'm going to provide for you, I would like to thank everybody for coming on in that are here. Crystal Cook, Carndonum, Daryl Zerlin, the lovely Lily Pond, Paranormal Highway, Eric. Who else? See, not too many. Corey Cole. Hi, Corey. Scrolling down again, Hero TV. Hey, how's it going? Monster. Hey, Ryan Trombley, Monster Radio. Go check out Ryan Trombley, Monster Radio. I know he's reworking his podcast. Check out Monster Radio. Please subscribe. He's a good friend of mine and does a fabulous job. Okay. Ghost Dragons. Scrolling down, and like I said, and that's really all I see. Love Cat. Hi, Love Cat. How are you? Susan Woodcarver. So again, thanks for all for coming on in. Don't expect a lot of people. Pilot show for BMR Live. And again, getting back to what I was talking about, there's a lot of weird things that go on in life that don't have to revolve around cryptids, the paranormal, or ghosts. But a lot of things in life, throughout my experiences, there's always a connection. There's always a connection. And I'm going to talk about a couple things tonight, a few things tonight, actually. Again, not to be redundant, the title of this was BMR Live Pilot Show Bigfoot is Boring, Dogman's Excited. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. But here's what I want to get on about the oddities of life, okay? The things that the average person comes across on a daily basis, and they know nothing about Bigfoot. They know nothing about Dogman. They know nothing about ghosts, spirits, or the paranormal. But these are people, average people like all of us, that scratch their head when these things occur. And it occurred to me about 7 or 8 months ago, okay? About 7 or 8 months ago, I was again at my mobile gas station. Okay. There's a lot of people in line. The pump 7 was down. I think the power had gone out and it was just getting back on. So there's a whole bunch of us in this mobile. And I'm talking to this man. And this man, he was he renovates houses, okay? And he worked in the neighborhood, and he was working on a family's a bathroom, which also connected to their kitchen type of thing. So they had an insurance claim, and so he got the job. He outbid whoever was out of all the bidders. He got the bid, and he started going to work. So we're talking in this mobile gas station line, and everybody. I was in this mobile gas station with this man for about 20 minutes. And it occurred to me that, wow, strange things happen to people and don't realize what's surrounding them. What is surrounding them? What's going on with them? So, really, the reason why I want to do a night show is talk about these average people that don't have a clue about any of what we all have clues about, right? So, here's what he was telling me. He started out in this bathroom and he ripped out all the tile. He ripped out everything, right down to the studs, the foundation. He started putting in the new flooring, the baseboards. He got a new tub in. All the tile was stripped. He's mudding. He's putting up, the green wall, and now he's going to tile. And the tile that this family wanted, or the husband and wife wanted, was a Mexican style of tile, like all of us would have seen at these various Mexican restaurants. And it's like browns, is oranges, is yellows, maybe some blues are fluttered in. Pretty stuff. Nice. I like it. I like the Mexican accents. Okay. So I know exactly where this guy's coming from. So he's on the back. He's in the shower room. And on the far back wall of the shower, he's putting up these tiles. He's laying in these 4x4 tiles, and he's lining them up, and he's making a very cool pattern. And the patterns all run together simultaneously, and they're creating a beautiful picture of the background of the mountains, the sun, a little bit of forest. You had coyotes, you had wildlife. It was like a mural of tile on the back wall of the shower. And he's getting through it, and he tells me he's looking back with one of his employees, and they're just admiring the beautiful work that he was doing. He wasn't full of himself. He wasn't bragging, but he was telling me how fabulous all this tile was looking. Perfect from the top to the bottom, and he said he was probably about 75% done before he had to get to the top where the bathtub started. So again, we're in Mobile gas station and we're talking, and he's telling me of how proud he was. So they went into lunch break, and they're gone maybe 45, 50 minutes, he's telling me. And he says, "Rob, the weirdest thing." Now, yes, he knows me as Rob. His name was I think Peter, but he went by Pedro, which of course is, Spanish name, Mexican name, right? For Peter is Pedro. So we're talking. He says, Robert, Rob, for the weirdest thing, when I go back in to finish off the next quarter percent of the tile job, he looks in there and he said he had to take his hands to his eyes like this, and he's rubbing his eyes. He's rubbing his eyes, okay? And he's looking, and I'm like, okay, what's going on? He goes, Rob, I'm looking at the beautiful tile, the sunrise, the sun in the background, okay? The animals, the coyotes at the bottom, the brush, the scenery, all right in front of me. Beautiful. And he goes, Rob. I go, yes, again, and I'm listening to him. I'm being very patient, okay? And I'm trying to get him on, tell me more about the story. Well, I want to know what's happened. So now I'm very excited about this. Rob, then he tells me, when I go back in to finish the job, the entire back tile job was upside down. So, in other words, at the top of the tiles was the sun. Then, if you pan down, the brush in the background, the coyotes, the wolves, whatever it was, are there straight up. He goes, the entire job was reversed. Just flip it around, it was upside down. Now, the sun is at the bottom. The animals are upside down with their legs up in the air. It was reversed. And he said, Rob, I was gone no more than 45 minutes for lunch. And when I came back, the entire back wall above the tub in the bathroom is upside down. And I says, what do you mean? I don't understand. He goes, Rob, listen, it was upside down, and there's no way that anybody could have came in and reversed it. First of all, it took like 4 hours to do what he did. Second of all, when he comes into and sees it all upside down, it was all hardened and fastened on the back of the green wall in the bathroom. I can't figure it out, Rob. And I'm thinking, and he's kind of asking me what I thought about it, wanting my opinion. And everybody, I'm not a tile man, okay? I'm low maintenance when it comes to doing maintenance work, okay? I can take a saw and cut a 2x4. I can take a plunger and unplug my toilet, right? But when it comes to plumbing, electrical, tile work, I'm not the best at it. The very first house I had, I did all that, and it took me years to get it right. Then I had to call professionals, okay? So I had to stop for a minute and think about this. How this happened? What was this occurrence? I'm going to tell everybody listening. This guy was not bullshitting me. We're standing in a mobile gas station, two strangers chit-chatting. There was a power outage. We're waiting in line and everybody's very cordial. How does this happen? Now, of course, and I talked to this man maybe 6 months ago, and I wasn't gonna tell him that I'm a podcaster. I believe in Bigfoot. I believe in Dogman. I believe in the paranormal. I'm not telling him I've seen ghosts. And then I suggested to him, "What do you think?" And then he says to me, "It had to be like you see on the Travel Channel about all these weird things that happen to people." And I asked him to explain. Yeah, well, Rob, what happened wasn't natural. It took me 4 hours to do 75% of this job, and I get back in 40 minutes, and my entire job is upside down. That just does not happen. And I agreed. And then I went and asked him what he knew about the paranormal, what he knew about ghosts. He hemmed, he hawed. He really didn't have an answer. And then his answer was this: I don't believe in that. Then I went and tell him, well, here's what I do. I talk about cryptids. I told him I seen a Bigfoot. I know about things like Dogman, Mothman, know about the paranormal. And I said, I've experienced many of these things. What have you experienced in your lifetime? We were sitting back for a while. Okay. And he's trying to think, and this man is trying to think what oddities has happened to him in his lifetime. And he's trying very hard. We're getting closer and closer to the counter. And frankly, everybody, I went in to get gas in my vehicle and get a cup of coffee. We're getting close, and I said, "Hey, Pedro, I'm going to gas up my car. I'm getting a couple coffees. You want a cup of coffee? I'll buy you coffee. We can talk about it." He was very genuine, looked at me, shook and said, "Yes, please, Rob. I want to talk to you." I gassed up my car, bought the man a coffee, bought myself a coffee. We went outside. There was a bench out there. We sat down. I said, "Now, I got to ask you something. You got to think real hard on this. What in your lifetime, outside of this very strange event, this odd occurrence, again, your work was taken upside down, cemented on the back of the bathroom. The tiles are totally flipped. A job took you 4 hours. Somebody did not recreate that. No one tore down the tiles for one. First of all, to take down the tiles, you guys, I being not a specialist in masonry work, that took it takes more than 45 minutes to have everything totally turned around. So I asked them, I said, I'm gonna tell you what my gut instinct is. This is probably something paranormal. And then I went back. I asked you earlier when we were standing in line, what were odd occurrences have happened to you in life? And again, very nice individual. He's thinking. I can tell his brain is working like rapid fire, thinking, thinking, trying to come up with something. And then I paused. I said, now listen, just don't make anything up. I'm just, I just met you. I'm just trying to help you. That's all I'm doing. If there's nothing that you have to tell me, I'm going to shake your hand. I'm going to go. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. But if there's something out of your past, please tell me about it and maybe I can help you further. He goes back and tells me while living in Mexico, he would visit a lot of these villages. In a lot of these villages, he had a lot of um how shall I say, they had a lot of setups where people were selling antiques, they were selling rugs, they were selling piñatas, they were selling Mexican hats, and a lot of them he went through, he had a lot of evil looking, like he said, voodoo dolls, and he said he had bought a voodoo doll at one time years ago, and he had mentioned he got this really old rug, which supposedly was owned by a jinn. Okay, you all know what a jinn is. It's very evil. It's a person that you give them a wish, not like a genie, but where you say something and think something to it, and it grants you what your favor is, but then it has your soul. And he's telling me all these weird things, and then all of a sudden he's coming and talking about these things. And I said, "Do you know?" I said, "Well, when you bought these things," I said, "First, did you know what you were buying? Were you have willful intentions?" No, no, I just bought it because it looked very nice for my house. So it got me to thinking. He bought these things, took them home. So it got me to thinking about this. I'm a firm believer that you can bring home things, right? A lot of you that follow me on a regular basis know the fact that back years ago, I would collect with my wife. We would go to antique shops and we buy all these weird items, right? And we actually had a house set up. In our house, we had a room set up, excuse me, with curio cabinets where we put our collectibles. A lot of you heard this story that again follow me, and we had darkness overtake our lives, right? We were seeing shadows out of darkness in our house, shadow people. And then we had found out about we brought home some evil artifacts or some evil items, right? In which we were told about, and making a long story short, I took care of that, eradicated it. So I asked this guy, I said, well, I told him that story that I just told you guys about me. And he was telling me, yeah, he brought this stuff home. And he goes, from the people that he bought it from were unscrupulous. They weren't good people. And he knew it and he got that feeling when he talked to him. So my words to him was, you probably have something following you because there's nothing that can do that that's human in nature. It's got to be some sort of supernatural or paranormal entity that found you about and did that. So I wanted to ask, well, what'd you do after you took down? I mean, I know you had to retile that, right? Yes, Rob. I tore down all the tile and restarted it. He goes, then I had to tell my customer that, I needed X amount of dollars more because all the tile that he put on the bathroom, he said he messed up. He didn't tell them what happened because, quite frankly, he knew they would not believe him, and who would believe this guy, right? Long story short, he lost that account, he lost the job, he got fired, and this couple moved on to somebody else. So the moral to this story, and it's something that I can reflect on, is this. I personally, since 1995, I don't buy anything out of any of these thrift shops. And I'm not the guy just going to go out and I'm not going to get anything blessed. I'm not going to have it run through sage. I just buy it brand new and roll with it. But the thing about this is this. This is an average everyday Joe, right? Knows nothing about paranormal, knows nothing about ghosts or demons. He's just a man, a hardworking man. They brought something with him. something was attached to him. And it was really in full bore when the work that he did was totally turned upside down. And I don't know where he is. We're not friends. This is the last I saw of him. So I guess with the premise of the late show, what I'm trying to put out here, this is the pilot show. Not too many people are here. Is I'd like to reach out to people moving forward about having these oddities happen to them, and they have no idea about any of these things. Okay. When I was a young guy, me is kind of different because growing up, I believed in all sorts of weird stuff anyway, so I really don't count. But I was with a friend of mine. We're at the creek by my house. I've told this story before where this stick it pops up in the middle of the creek. Okay, it's a dry stick. A dry stick. Me and my buddy are looking at it. Wow, well, that's kind of weird. So, and it's funny though, you guys, because it was getting dusky dawn, and we were going to collect wood to start a fire. This stick pops up. I said, "Well, yeah, that's a dry stick, Brian." My buddy's name is Brian. I'm like, "Let's go grab that and throw it in a pile so we get the fire going." We have some people over. We're gonna sit around, have some drinks, and BS, and watch the sky. Look into the sky, listen to some music, do what kids do. So we're approaching this stick, everybody. And when we get about 8 to 10 feet in front of it, the stick pops up, gets taller, and it has these little spindly legs and spindly arms pop out of its side, and it starts running towards the creek. Running, running towards the creek. It reminded me of the Planters Peanut Man, but thinner, right? It had this stick body with very minute arms and legs, and the arms are going back and forth like he's running, and the legs are running very fast, and it's running, runs down the hill. Me and my buddy are chasing after it. And the funny thing is, and it jumps into the creek. And as soon as it hits the water, everybody, it turns into a stick, like every other stick that was floating in the water and floated down the creek. I experienced that early 20s. For me, it's not fair because I've seen a lot of crazy things. So, what I'm trying to do is reach out to people moving forward with the newer show, is talk to the average Joe that's not how we are. Everybody in chat and everybody listening, we all believe in the paranormal. We all believe to an extent about Bigfoot, Dogman. So we are different. So what I'm trying to do is capture people and have them present things to me that are odd and strange and has nothing to do with cryptids. But as I always say, all of these things have a way to come back. And I think they're all interrelated, whether you believe in anything or not. So it's kind of the stories that I want to come up to and present to everybody to make them different. We've all heard about Bigfoot crossing the road. We've all heard about Dogman chasing alongside the car. They're exciting, they're entertaining, and they happen, and it's data which is needed for research. But I'm trying to reach out to people that have just had weird things happen to them. Which brings me to this about weird things. And I don't know about you guys, but I do have to say, I don't know that I'm disappointed. I don't know that I'm happy. I title this Bigfoot is boring and Dogman's exciting. And I want your guys' pulse on this, okay? I want to know, and people that listen later, leave a comment. So I got to tell you, and I notice this because I study the analytics on my show every day. I'm in tune to my audience. I want to provide content that my audience wants to listen to, okay? I do this for myself because I love it, but I also do it because I love my audience. Without an audience, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be up here at 1 o'clock in the morning putting on a show and telling you my concerns. And here's a couple of them, okay? And again, I want honest opinions. I want honest feedback. And I'm going to talk, and maybe I haven't read any of your guys' comments. Hello to everybody. But here's the thing. I will put out, I'm going to tell you the story. Saturday, I put out a Bigfoot encounter. It was a beautiful story. Now, this was a beautiful story about a young boy, his grandfather, and the tribal reservation they live on. He's a Muskogee Native American. And the grandfather, when his grandson turned about 10, he would take him into the woods. And he taught him about the culture of the Muskogee. So did his father, but unlike the father, the grandfather would tell them about. Oh, and by the way, Susan Woodcarver, I'm working on having a dedicated for what the new show that I'd like to start. Great point, Susan. 1-800 BMR. I'm working on getting a phone line that comes into the studio so I can take callers and give me stories via the telephone. So that's something that's in the works too for this particular show. So with that being said, I'm sorry, Susan, I just forgot to say that. So anyway, moving forward with this story, and this is what I mean about Bigfoot versus Dogman. And again, a beautiful story. This is a great story as I get. The grandfather is teaching his grandson about Sasquatch, how it's the protector of the particular tribe, how it's the protector of the forest. And he told his grandson, and he took him on the trail. He says, when you're 16 years old, I'm going to take you off trail when you're stronger and you're more mature, and I can take you to meet Sasquatch. Because from the age of 10 to 15, the grandfather always told his grandson about his experience with the Sasquatch, his communications, and how it protected the Muskogee for centuries. Okay. Now, the father was adamantly against this. Although Muskogee himself, he, though, was not up to the grandfather's preachings to his son. So the grandfather and the grandson had a great bond and relationship. 5 years go by. Now, finally, on this boy's 16th birthday, the grandfather took him off trail. On the trail that they were on for the 5 years was the same old, until grandfather, took him off trail. He brought a machete. He cut through the brush. And as they're going through the brush, the forest, and they're going a couple, 3-4 miles. And the deeper and deeper they got into the forest, the grandson, and again, this is a story told to me, the forest got lusher, it got greener. You can see the emollients, the oils on the bark getting was profound. Beautiful flowers sprang out about them, great fragrances, and they got to a meadow overlooking the tree line. Okay. Grandfather took his grandson, sat down, said, yes, we are going to have your first experience with Sasquatch. They sit down. Grandfather took two blankets for them to sit on of tribal descent or tribal woven from the culture. And grandfather, according to this man, starts speaking in a tongue unfamiliar for the grandson. And he's just speaking out loud into the tree line from where this meadow broke. Okay. And then, as described to me and told to me by the grandson, out of the tree line The Sasquatch appeared. The Sasquatch got closer and closer. The Sasquatch, however, everybody, was not physical. It wasn't flesh and blood because it was dense, but yet transparent enough where you could see through it and see to the wood line. Okay. And he said, no, Rob, not like a ghost, not like an apparition, but it wasn't solid. And it got up to the grandfather and the grandson, and it communicated telepathically to the young man. Listen to the preachings of grandfather, for he is a wise man. With that being said, the Sasquatch dissipated into mist and fluttered off into the night air. He turned to his grandfather, wanted to tell his grandfather what had happened. The grandfather put his fingers to his lips and said, son, grandson, that was for you and you only to hear. I don't need to hear it. Now, the young man is 16 years old, and now he's been going back. Him and his grandfather are, again, together all the time. But now the 16-year-old, getting older, through the ages of 16, 17, 18, he's going off by himself, going back to this area. He's going back to hopefully have another experience with the Sasquatch. Well, for 2 years, nothing. Nothing. At the end of that second year, his grandfather passed away. The grandson is traumatized. He's beside himself. So he goes to back again where he's been going. He had the one experience, nothing in 2 years, but he goes back to the area. He takes his grandfather's rugs or blankets, lays them about, and he just sits there and he's communicating into the tree line from the meadow. Please, please, I need to talk to you. My grandfather's now gone, and you're my only other friend, despite the fact that I haven't seen you in 2 years. I just need answers. Lo and behold, from the tree line entering the meadow is the same Sasquatch that they had saw, the grandson and grandfather saw 2 years prior. It comes to him the same way it did 2 years prior. The grandson's looking not in disbelief, but he's overjoyed that now a friend can hopefully give him consolation. And like the first time when he had the telepathic communication, again, he's now telepathically communicated to again. But it was different this time because the voice, the message in his head was not the voice of the Sasquatch from 2 years ago, everybody, but it was the voice of his grandfather. And the grandfather spoke through the Sasquatch. I'm in a good place. You'll be fine. I can see my great grandchildren. Yes, you're going to have many children. Just please continue on my tradition and my beliefs and pass it on for your children, for future generations. That's a great story. And the reason I tell that story is because of this. Again, this show is Bigfoot is boring, Dogman's exciting. That video I dropped Saturday. 180 people have looked at it. I don't give a shit about the views. I look how to improve my show. I drop a Dogman. If I drop that same video, but Dogman's in the title, I'll have 600 views. So my question is this: the dog man. See, with Bigfoot, there's so many good stories, and I will say this: Bigfoot to me and Bigfoot, Mr. Rob. I will tell you this right now. I don't think he's a friendly forest giant. I don't trust Bigfoot as far as I can throw him. Okay, I think I don't trust him. I'm not saying that Bigfoot is good. But when you get these stories, a lot of them are very good. A lot of them are like that one. Every Dogman story is got something evil or very obscure about it, where people suffer. Bigfoot goes both ways, and I do want to tell people I had a Bigfoot encounter. It was a demon, what I saw, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not the guy that says, "Hey, Bigfoot's good," because Bigfoot is a cryptid. It's an inhumanoid, or it's some humanoid that's not natural. Okay. So I'm not a person that's an advocate for Bigfoot at all. Okay. But why is it that, and I'm doing this to my audience, I'm asking my audience, okay, why is it that the Bigfoot gets okay views, but the dog man gets double the views? Is it because we all are more interested in evil? We're all more interested in something happening? Are we more interested in big in a dog man ripping up a bunch of chickens or hogs or a man's pet, where Bigfoot, is kind of boring. He comes out from beside a tree. He manifests from a tree. He's a the artist that looks around a tree and peekaboo. Bigfoot stories are not very threatening. Is what I'm trying to get at. Where all Dogman stories are, okay? From my experiences, So why is that? So are people telling me indirectly that they don't care about Bigfoot stories? They'd rather hear about things that are nefarious, like Dogman. Because I'm going somewhere with this. January's coming up. My channel's kind of going to be turned around because I'm going to go with what the people want. And Bigfoot Mr. Rob might just be 75% Dogman, because nobody seems to care about Bigfoot. So I'm very serious when I ask you guys these questions. I'm not poking fun at anything. I want to know what you want to hear. All my guests I have on my shows are mostly Bigfoot researchers. And then I have Dogman researchers. But I'm not going to waste my time if you guys don't want to hear that stuff. That's my point. Because I do this for you guys, okay? So, kind of the reasons why I'm doing a late show as well is get the pulse of the audience. In fact, with this, I like to have a dedicated line for people to call in. I like to have a link and drop it in chat where people come on and tell me their thoughts, their actual thoughts. And I figure a late night show is cool for people when there's not as many people out listening, right? Where you can voice your opinion. Maggie M10, Maggie's awesome. I really don't like Dogman. Bigfoot is old news now, Corey. Well, Corey, Corey Cole. Bigfoot is old news now. And I thank you for that comment. Is it really? I'm suspecting it is. I'm just going to give you the numbers. If I get, let's say, 300 views for a Dogman video, I get 700. If I get 300 views for a Bigfoot story, I get 700 for Dogman. If I have a Dogman researcher on my channel, I get 1,000 views, or a Bigfoot researcher, 400. So my preface behind going off on this is for you. What do you want to hear? But I'm going to do, and I will say this: my mind has been made. I'm doing both anyway, like I've always been doing. I'm not really changing, but I do want to know what the pulse of the audience is, because I always have to take you all into consideration, right? But it just annoys me when I put out something good, have a good guest on, and people don't seem to give a damn. But if it's a Dogman person, oh man, they're all up his butt, right? And I love it and I get it. And I respect each and every single one of you. it just flabbergasts me that people really don't give a crap about Bigfoot. And maybe it is old news, Corey. Maybe it is. And it's not an off night because I've got 100 videos that I've done, and 60 are Bigfoot and 40 are Dogman. And the Dogman blow away the 60 because people love it. They comment on it. Spiritual, I'm going to go with the flow. Whatever comes up, comes up. I'm not changed. Listen, don't get me wrong, everybody. My show is going to stay exactly the same. I am not changing anything I do. But for you, the audience, I'd like to know where your thoughts are because I care about the people that listen. I'm going to do what I want to do, regardless of what anyone tells me. But I do keep you guys in consideration, right? Because you're the ones that keep me on air. You guys keep me on air. If there, I got 30 people in chat at 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday, which is awesome. And thank you all for joining, right? That's important to me. Okay. You guys, my audience is important. I want to give you guys what you want to hear. I'm going to do what I want to do, but you guys are the people that are the driving force behind the Bigfoot Mystery Rob channel. Okay. And I'm venting a little because I'm frustrated when I think such a quality story like the one I just told you, and people are like, whatever. And I seriously thought it was gonna be good, but people didn't like it. You know, and I'm always going to be me. Thanks, spirituality. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because y'all like me anyways. I am kind of entertaining. But no, seriously though, I mean, what matters to you matters to me is what I'm saying. Okay. So the new late night show, I don't know if I'm going to be doing it 5 days a week because I think I'm going to be being on the air a lot more. I like the oddities. I like these oddities. Like the story I told at the beginning about the tiles. I like things like that. I like when the average Joe comes up to me and says, "Hey man, here's what happened." And they tell me that story. That story blew me away. And I was thinking about that story for the longest time. And so, yes, and I do believe everybody that weird things like this, these weird odysseys, if you will, I think it's all related, not necessarily to cryptids, but perhaps to paranormal, perhaps to ghosts and spirits. I think, cryptids come into some play. And you've got, I even touched on UFOs and aliens. At my bar, I had a person who would come in every day and sit at the end of my bar. Okay. And I had knew nothing, you guys, about aliens or the men in black. I had my bar for 13 years. Okay. And one of my customers had seat 11, F11, because if you're in the restaurant business, you know what I'm talking about, how you assign a letter and a number to all your chairs and all your tables. At least that's what I did. F11 was occupied by Stanley Wilson for 3 consecutive years. Stanley was there from 12 o'clock noon to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So his shift was 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. And he came back from 6 to 9. Okay. 3 straight years, Monday through Friday. I didn't work the weekends too often, so I don't know if good old Stanley was there. After 3 years, he passed away. Well, from what? Well, cirrhosis of the liver, of course. About a week later, nobody, out of respect to Stanley, because I had a lot of repeat customers. I had the same crowd all the time. And if you sat around the bar, everyone knew whose seat was whose seat. And out of respect, they just didn't sit in them, right? Kinda like that, remember Cheers? "Hey, Norm, hey," where everyone knows well, it's kinda that's an actual real thing, right? People know people, especially when you become a regular. So, good old, Stanley passes, God rest his soul. Nobody occupied that seat for a week, for about a week, okay? And all of a sudden, I happened to be working the bar that night one night. I did everything. I was a hands-on owner. I worked, okay? Tended bar, I cooked, cleaned tables, I did everything. And, finally, after a week, I was kind of astonished because somebody was sitting at Stanley's seat. And of course, fine, anyone can sit there, but it was so weird. Everyone paid him respect and no one sat there. Some some a man sits there, you guys, okay? He came in, he had a dark black suit on, and it was weird though. No, I'm not gonna say he had a fedora. He didn't have a hat, but he did have on his hat was a Detroit Tiger baseball cap turned around backwards. But I thought that was odd, everybody, because who wears a nice suit and a baseball hat turned backwards, right? I'm like, oh, I serve this guy. I say, wow. I come up to this man. I say, what you having? Welcome to the bar. Never seen you around. I'm Rob, blah, blah, blah. Excuse me, what are you having? And again, it was odd that he had a suit on, a baseball cap, Detroit Tigers turned backward. But what was even made it even more peculiar is what he wanted to order. And he said he wanted Old Granddad, which is whiskey, and a side in a shot glass of 7 Up. Now, for everybody listening, Old Granddad is something that my dad drank, okay, who's passed away. It was like way nobody drinks that today. And a side of 7 Up in a shot glass. And this person that came in, I figured he was maybe 30 or 40 years old, younger. Stanley was an older man. He was like in his 60s, 70s at the time. My dad was in his 70s when he passed, and all his buddies drank the Old Granddad. My dad drank Crown Royal. So for this young man, now here's the thing, which was really intriguing about the Old Granddad and the glass of 7 Up is this. Everybody in chat, guess what Stanley's drink of choice was? Yeah, you guessed it. Stanley's drink of choice was Old Granddad and a side of 7 Up. This person comes into the bar, black suit, Detroit Tigers baseball cap turned around, looks kind of strange. I'm not even gonna tell you what he looked like just yet. Orders Old Granddad and a side of 7 Up in a shot glass. Nobody I was in the bar business for 13 years. Nobody orders that. Nobody, except my old friend Stanley. Nobody. That floored me when this guy ordered this. And he sits, everybody, he sits in Stanley's chair where no one sat in for like over 2 weeks. I asked him, "Do you know Stanley blah, 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 the last name?" He goes, "No, I'm new here. I just moved here last week. I don't know anybody around here." And I just said, "Man, I said, "Man, I gotta tell you, this is odd." This man has been a bar customer of mine for 3 years. He passed away not too long ago, and he drank Old Granddad and a shot glass of 7 Up, which is, like, odd anyway. Nobody drinks that, and you come in here, and you order the same drink as Stanley? That don't happen, everybody. That just don't happen. This guy now I'm starting to really check this guy out. He was thin, tall, pale skin, beady eyes. I mean, he looked every part of a man in black or an alien, right? This is what I'm starting to think. Okay. So this guy's is this unusual looking person. So this man, and here's another thing about this guy. This guy would come in every day. Remember I told you guys Stanley would come in at 12 noon to 3 p.m. Then he'd come back later from like 3 to 6. Well, sure as shit, this guy was in that stool. The guy was not in at night, but sure as crap, 12 to 3 every day, just like Stanley, ordering that same drink. I don't know about you, but I find that a tad bit odd. A tad bit odd. So I don't know. That's why I want to do these late night live shows. Talk about these oddities, everybody. That's odd. Blue Cruise, you want to see my mixology skills? Yes, I can pour a shot and I can pull a draft beer and give you a cold bottle of beer. I'm not very adept at flipping the canistas. Boom, 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 boom. Well, I'd have to practice. I'd have to get back into it, I guess. But you guys, that's the thing. There's so many things, we all concentrate on these cryptids. We concentrate on Dogman, Bigfoot, and this is what I do. And you guys all love it. And I love you all. Out of the box. That was out of the box. I mean, that's weird, right? So, is there a connection between this guy, old man Stanley, God rest his soul? I'm not, when I say old man Stanley, I'm not disparaging him, right? Dies, his drink, old granddad, 7 Up in a shot glass, passes on. No one sits in his seat for a couple weeks. Tall stranger from out of town comes in, dressed in black. Detroit Tiger baseball cap backwards, pale, weird looking guy. And he orders old granddad and a shot of 7 Up. I bet $100 nobody in this chat or nobody listening later ever drank that before or ordered as your drink. Not let alone he sat in the same spot and everything. I don't know. And yes, Maggie, you do hear a lot of wild stuff as a bartender, and you see a lot of wild stuff. You see a lot. A lot of you know about the ghosts I've seen at the bar. If you're new here, well, it's a story for another time. The bar that I had was operational during the bootlegging and prohibition days, and a lot of things went down there. A lot of illegal activity. A lot of people were killed back in the day, way back prohibition times, during like Dillinger times and during bootlegging times, Al Capone days. And the bar that I own was a speakeasy. It was a speakeasy. So there's a lot of haunting history there. And I seen many apparitions from those days in the bar as well as the employees. Not suggesting this guy was this black suited baseball wearing guy was because he didn't fit that bill. He doesn't fit any bill. He fits part of the paranormal bill. I don't even know that he was human. And the thing about him is he was in, I seen him, like I said, all the time for about 2 or 3 weeks, up to a month straight. Same time as Stanley, 12 to 3 for about a month straight. And then never seen him again after about a month. Well, White Russian would be Kahlua and vodka. At least that's what I called it. They're overbuilt. But yeah. So yeah, and milk. Yep, milk too. Love cat. Milk, vodka, and Kahlua. I just can't. When I think of milk and vodka or milk in any alcohol, ugh, just curdles my stomach. So I always left it out. And I always got my hand slapped too by the customer. You forgot the milk. Yeah, well, I didn't really forget it. I was looking out for you. Hey, Candy, Love Cat, Maggie. Thank you for everybody for joining me tonight. This is kind of like a pilot show. I want to get my feet wet. I don't know if I'm going to do a live show every night, but I think y'all understand where I'm coming from. I just want to talk about different odd stuff, right? I do Bigfoot Dogman Tuesday and Thursday. I do the paranormal Tuesday and Thursday. And we all like the same content, but I'm trying to find things that the average person that isn't into these that they speak about, and where we as a community can figure out what the hell's going on. Like the story I told at the beginning of the show about the tile. I mean, what was that, right? I wanted to get your thoughts on why do we prefer Dogman stories over Bigfoot, because I think they're both important. They're important for data, they're important for researchers. It's certainly striking up a conversation with a person at a mobile gas station and finding out all the weird things that have happened to them. I like that. When I don't know about you guys, but when I go into a grocery store, when I go into a party store, when I go to the mall, which I really don't go to the mall anymore, right? I try to spark up conversations with people to get their story. I try to dig for weirdness from people. Kind of like I guess I'm kind of pushy about it. I guess I'm like an investigative journalist, right? And I'm not. My degree is not in journalism, but I like stories from people. And I do get a lot of stories sent in from you guys that I do use all the time. But I like investigating it myself. I like getting out in the public and talking to people. And in my own weird way, I kind of get around to asking them weird questions. Like, hey, by the way, you believe in the dog man? A what? A what? A dog what? Okay, Bigfoot. I get a kick out of it. I get a charge out of it. And I know you guys do too. So I want to thank everybody for coming in. I had a great time actually. Leave a comments. Let me know what you thought about this, and let me know. You guys, be honest. People listening in chat, people listening later, comment. Why is Dogman more fascinating than Bigfoot? And number two, do you guys like to hear these odd stories that are not even related to any cryptid, but they're just odd and strange? Because I tell you what, we all like the odd and strange outside of cryptids, and I'm trying to expand my horizons. I'm trying to make my channel more interesting. I want to keep retaining my beautiful audience. Like you all are beautiful. I thank you for coming on. I really do. Especially, I didn't expect to have this many here tonight, which is awesome. Totally awesome. I love each and every single one of you. And I do have to say this Tuesday night, Beyond BMR, 9 o'clock in the East. Most of you know about my Bigfoot encounter in 2018, my traumatic encounter that sent me on this journey where I lost my girlfriend and such. You guys know the story where the Bigfoot, the Down syndrome looking deformed Bigfoot was staring at me. Then it all of a sudden metamorphosized into the demon where he yelled and screamed at me. And I've told this story 1,000 times. Tuesday night, Sibylla Irwin going to be on my show. She's a great friend of mine, a fantastic artist. Tuesday night, BMR's Bigfoot and Demon are brought to life. For the very first time ever, you're going to see what I saw June 15, 2018. Both renditions of my Bigfoot, the Down syndrome looking Bigfoot and the demon Bigfoot, for the first time in 5 years on my channel, on my show, 9 o'clock in the East, Tuesday. Rob, Sibylla Irwin, my Bigfoot uncovered. Be there. Share that one out. It's going to be epic. I want you all there. Please be there. Thanks for joining me here tonight. With that being said, I am BMR. Please subscribe if not already. Like, share, leave a comment. Have a great start of the work week, which started probably about an hour ago. Love y'all. Goodbye.